So your subnetting, you know that whole network, one network is there, you divide into subnetwork. For subnetting, what you are doing, you are just taking few bits, whatever as requirement, you are taking few bits from the host part and merge with the network part like this, right? Now in the super, we combine two network logically, or two or more network logically. Like so many subnetworks are there. To domain subnetwork with some rules, we combine that's all the subnetwork, right? See what I'm saying? This is network, let's say, and this is one more network. This is one, and this is one more network. You're combining this whole network into one network. My voice is breaking. I don't think so. Internet issue is there here. I think speed is coming fine. 40 Mbps around is coming. Hello, now fine. Sorry. So the issue is to everyone, or okay, fine. Okay, then no issue. We will go slowly, and any issue is there, just tell me. Repeat on any question you can ask. So multiple network here, I'm joining into a single network. That is the meaning of supernetting. Doing supernetting because so many entries in the router table. So that all the time we have to go for during the masking, when packet comes, you need, say in the worst case, through all the entry you have to go through, right? So your time complexity become order of n, right? So to reduce the number of entry, we have to do supernetting. That is the main advantage of using the supernetting, right? So see this network C, this is your S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, and S8. 8 subnetwork is there, or 8 networks are there. And this all 8 subnetworks are connected with this internal router, right? And on the internal router, 9 interfaces are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 interfaces. And one interface is connected with the external router, right? From the another network, from the internet, let's say one packet comes to the external router, right? Then it will check, do the masking with all the entry. And one more thing, maybe right now you don't know, when you will study in the network layer, in the router, maybe the external or internal, whatever the nearby router, all the entry of the internal router also exists in the external router. I mean, what I'm saying, who is a neighbor of that router, that also information exists in that table, like this, to find out the best path. Because in the routing algorithm, to choose the route, we have to apply the routing algorithm to calculate the by applying the routing algorithm on the table. We need all this, right? Then only we can choose the best path. Right? Few algorithms are there in that algorithm. Also, you will study in the algorithm part, and here also we will implement these algorithms, and you will study this algorithm in the algorithm design subject. Dijkstra and all these things, find out the fast shortest path and other things, right? So now this whole subnet entry also exists in this external router, right? Now the packet comes, it will mask to each and every entry of the external router, depend where it find the exact interface. So in the worst case, it will go through the each and every entry. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8, 4, 5, 6, 8 subnet is there. For 8 subnet, only one interface will be the result in the external router requirement. So for in this case, we can do anything. Like let's see example. So you see this IP is subnet ID is different for each subnet. Let's see the example. What I am saying, why I am doing the routing table. See, this is your external router, right? Now see this S1, this is one S1 has interface I1, right, for the external router. Similarly, this is S2 has interface I1 only, because in the external, from the external router, there is only one interface, which is I1, remaining, then that interface is connected with the internal router. From that internal router, we have subnetworks, different. So whatever comes in that table, that will be I1. Similarly for S3, there is I1. Similarly for S4, there is I1 only, and goes to up to S8, right? Up to S8. And what about the internal routing table? An internal routing table is this subnetwork ID is interface is 1, which point to the subnetwork 1, and this network ID point to this interface. Similarly, this network ID point to third interface. Your subnetwork ID or network for now same. It's a network, right? So I'm calling, if I'm calling network ID or if I'm calling subnetwork ID, it's the same thing because it is a network. Maybe a small network, it may be a big network. It is a network. So don't confuse from the network and subnetwork ID for now, right? Similarly, this 8 subnetwork or network point to 8 interface. So here, see, here all the entries are different, but in the external router, all the interface entries are same, corresponding to each subnetwork, right? Now what we have to do, we have to try to join all these subnetwork into one network with some certain rules. If it is possible, we can join, otherwise keep it as it is. See now. So see, the routing table of external router is becoming too large because of the subnet are more, right? We are dividing one network into subnet, and all the subnet entry we have to store in the router table. The external routing table is not sufficient to handle the big data. If n entries are there, we need on time to search while interface we need to send in the worst case, right? So in supernetting, we are logically combining the subnetwork with the objective of reducing the size of external routing table. That is our goal, which in the last lectures, maybe I asked a question, right? Okay, see one example and then you are able to solve. Now, this is your example. Same IP, same 8 subnetwork I'm using, 8 network I'm using, right? So how many network I am using, that number of bit corresponding, that number of bit I have to borrow from the network part. Now, from the network part, what I'm saying, let's say 8 network is there. So how many bits are required? 2 raised to power 3 means 3 bits are required. 3 bits are required to borrow from the network part and merge with the host part, so that can be logically one network, right? This is the thing. So the 3 bits are required from the network part and we will merge with the host part. Now see here, this is your S1 network ID, and see the third octet, this one. And now again, for subnet ID for S2, see the third octet. Where the octet is different, 0 to 3, that octet we have to see. Then only you can join 3. This is now here. Okay, now this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. So subnets are there, right? So we are looking in that octet. From that octet, how many bits you have to borrow? 3 bits. Because 8 subnetworks are there. 3 bits, 3 bits, 3 bits, 3 bits you have to borrow, right? And then when we combine, it become as a supernet mask, and whatever the first IP of that, first IP means which is the lowest subnet ID, that ID become as a supernet, that ID become as a supernet ID, you can say, right? So this ID become as a supernet. Now we have to apply some rules, but for now, it's become a supernet ID. Now whole network is there. In that whole network, 8 subnetwork is there. And what is the IP, supernet IP of the whole network, which is the first lowest IP, right? For now, it is fine, right? Guys, any question? So earlier the masking is 24 bits, right? Earlier the mask is 24 bit. Now 3 bit I borrowed from the network part. So now the mask become for the supernet 21 bits. Now the mask become 21 bits. Guys, say yes or no. Sai, Gayatri, Sanjeev. Okay, Sai is asking, can you repeat, sir? Fine. You know the subnetting, Sai, right? I'm assuming you know the subnetting. Now what we are doing in the supernetting, what I'm doing, I'm combining the whole multiple sub into one network, right? With some certain rules. So let's say these 8 subnetworks are there. 8 subnetworks are there. I want to aggregate these 8 networks into a single network. So I'm checking the IP, which octet is different. To all these subnetworks, I'm checking which octet is different. So this octet, the third octet is different, right? So from that third octet, I have to borrow the bits. How many bits? Number of networks. So 8 networks are there. So 3 bits I have to borrow. 8 for 3, right? So 8 networks I have to aggregate. So 3 bits I have to borrow from the 8 bits. 8 bits, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8. So this 3 bits I have to borrow from the last part, from the LSB. Right? Okay, take time, fine. These 3 bits we have to borrow from this. Now see what I mean. Now this remaining part here become 21 bits as a network part, and this whole part. Now we have to do some, we have to apply some rules, but for now, SuperNet ID will be your first lowest subnet ID will be. So here the lowest subnet ID is this one. So this is the SuperNet ID for whole network, right? Now see. So we are changing our mask number from 24 to 21, right? Because all bits same up to 20, all subnet. That is must, right? For the network, or the net mask, all bits should be equal through all subnetwork. Then only we can see the network mask. Now see your previous table. This is your previous. 8 entries are there, right? So same subnet ID, subnet ID, subnet ID, subnet ID. Previous table. Course I1, 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 I1. Now in the external table, in the latest or current table, there is no need. Just put this one with the subnet mask. So we are replacing this 8 entry with single. Now we are reducing. If we convert the multiple, if we convert 8 subnetwork into a single network, this way from the 8 entry, we are reducing to 1 entry. Right? Now see the rules, how actually we are doing. Okay, before discussing about the rules, let's take this example. Let's take this example. Your external router gets this IP as a packet. So in a packet, data is there. In that data, you have destination address, which is 10.128.7.6, right? This data is there. Now, you know external router will mask with 21. You know that part. Now try to do masking, means logical end. You know that bitwise end or logical end is the same thing. I'm doing logical end here. What I am getting this one. Right? Now hence external router will send this packet to interface 1, means to SuperNet. Now it will send this packet to SuperNet. Inside the SuperNet, we have an internal router. Now on internal router, masking will happen. Then we will go to that particular subnetwork like this. So from this, we are reducing our entries. This way we have to do masking. Now take one more example. So take one more example. Same different destination address, this one, right? Now I am doing masking with the IP, and masking is /21. You know that one, 21. If you do masking, the same SuperNet ID is coming. This same SuperNet ID. Then it will go to the it will with the IP address and go to the particular subnetwork like this, right? Example 2. This is example 2 with different subnet IDs. Now you have a 8 subnet, right? And these IDs are 247, 248, 249, 250 to 254. The third octet is different, right? Everywhere, right? Everywhere is different. So how I am joining? See, we have to check which bits are same, right? And which bits are not same. This way. See, 4 bits are same and the remaining 4 bits are not same. Right? But for supernetting, we have to use 3 bits only, because 8 subnetworks are there. So 2 is 3 bits borrow from the network part, and see, take 3 bits. This one I am borrowing from the network part, right? Now let's say it becomes, let's say for now, let's say it becomes SuperNet ID, right? Let's say it becomes SuperNet ID. So the whatever the first lowest subnet mask, right, that become as a SuperNet ID, right? That become as SuperNet ID. But there is a rule in this. There is a rule is this: if the first 4 bit or 5 bits, whatever the bits are same, then that only considered as a SuperNet. That only as considered as a SuperNet. Now see this one. This is your external. This is external. This is your network. Now here the packet is coming in the external, right? Now this I am able to do supernetting on this subnetwork, right? This network. So ID of the SuperNet, this network, SuperNet ID is 128.140/0. I'm telling why 20, why I'm not using 21 and why I'm using 20 here. Because in the supernetting, the point is in the octet, whatever the different octet, we have to see the bits, and which bits are same, that only bits I have to include in the supernet, and whatever the bits are different, that we have to include in the network host part. So that 4 bit will be usable, right? So that's why we are using 20 for this case. But first we have to see the rules, then again we'll come on this question. Now see, now if some, see this one is there network, some other different network is there. Now see the example. Now see in the routing table 2 entries are there, 240 and 241, two subnet, means 2 network, this network and this network, right? 240 and 241, remember these two. Big example. Okay, now this example I am taking 41.3. If we do the masking, whatever in the routing table, the mask will this one, which is 128.1.240.0. So actually that packet will go to the supernet. But if you see manually if you see the IP, actually it is a second network of the routing table, because 241 already exists in the network. So which is wrong. So that's why we have to apply some rules to aggregate the subnetworks. So these rules are, so this is called incorrect supernetting. This is called incorrect supernetting. So rules are, you have to see the rules. What rules are there? So these necessary conditions are there. See, now what rules are there? After 21 bits of mask, everything, some rules are there. After 21 bits of every mask, everything should be 0 in the lowest subnet address. That is the rule. Whatever the lowest subnet ID now, after masking, when we do the masking, whatever the host bits are there in that particular octet, that should be 0. Whatever the host bits are there in that particular octet, that should be 0. Then only we can get the correct supernetting. Otherwise, no. So there are 3 conditions. Let's see what 3 conditions are. So first conditions are IP must be in sequence. Must be in sequence. See, I took the example of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is must. Means your 0, 1, 2, 3, maybe 247, 248, 249, 250 like this. Or maybe I take angle 263, 264 like this. The first rule, right? The second rule is the number of networks in the supernet must be 8, 16, and 32. So this is like CIDR, right? This 2 is done. The third one is your smallest address divisible by /x, or you can say the other part, your host bits in different octet, your host bit in different octet must be 0. Your host bit in different octet must be 0. If this is 0, then only correct supernetting is possible, otherwise no. And that the lowest subnet ID. That check only on the lowest subnet ID. See this one example. So now I am taking, they are this list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, and list 5. 5 different subnetworks are there. Different for the aggregation are there. Lists are given. So you have to try and check supernetting is possible on list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to try. Now see what I am saying. 192.168.0.0.0/24, right, is given. Similarly, the next one, 192.168.1.0.6 24. Now see, whatever the different octet, first find out the different octet. Yeah, different octet is third one. Is the continuous is there or not? Is continuous 0, 1? Yes, it is continuous, right? This is the first rule. Similarly, check with the list 2. 1 or 2? Yes, it is a continuous. Check list 3. 0, 1, 2. Yes, it is a continuous. Everyone is qualified. First rule, right? Similarly, for list 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, which is no, right? This is not. So this will not be possible sum network. List 4 is gone. We remove that list 4. Similarly, we have to check list 5. So which octet is different? Octet number 2. Octet number 2. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is qualified. This is qualified. This is qualified. This is qualified. For now, right? So this is qualified. This is qualified. This is qualified. This is qualified. Say yes or no. First of all, you are getting, guys, everyone. Okay, fine. Just we are doing aggregation, nothing with some rules. Second one, what we have to do? What is the second one? The number of network must be power of 2, right? So this 2 raised to power 1, this is 2 raised to power 1, this is no, it is not a power of 2, and then this is power of, but we already rejected that part from the first rule, and this is a power of 2, right? So this one, and this one only, and this is also rejected. Right now, 3 lists left. List 1, list 2, and list 5. These 3 lists, list 1, list 2, and list 5 is possible. Now you have to check. You have to check the lowest subnet ID from each. This lowest subnet ID, this lowest subnet ID, and this lowest subnet ID, and find out the host bit in different octet is 0 or no. How many bit we have to borrow from this? Because 2 network are there, means 1 bit only. 1 bit only. Now check here. 1 bit only you have to borrow, right? Which is different, this one different. Now 1 bit I have to borrow. Now let's see example 2 also. 1 and 2 is given, right? And then list 5. Here 4, 5, 6. Lowest is 4. And one more. 1, 1, 1. Now tell me which aggregation is possible here. From which list aggregation is possible? Guys, any answer? Sanjeev, Gayatri, Sai? So this is not possible, right? This is not possible or possible. Okay, only third, no. Okay, first and third, yeah, first and third is there, it's fine, and leave for now. I think in the end of lecture I will discuss that part. I think I'm something I'm missing, maybe, or maybe I'm something I'm missing. Yeah, Gayatri is saying something. As smallest is not 0. At smallest is not 0. It's not 0, right? At smallest is not 0. Okay, we'll come. Leave. For now, leave. Maybe I'm missing something in different way. So this is OpenStack. Supernetting means your subnetwork, multiple subnetworks are there. You have to join, aggregate, and with some rules. And in Open System Interconnection Model, OSI model, see, this is the only way how we have to communicate from one system to another. So always we refer. This is not a practical model. If we want to say how the communication happening between two systems, between two hosts, this we have to see. This is a standard model actually. This is a standard model how the communication from one network to another network happens. In between, so many things are there, right? Routers are there, switches are there, everything's are there, right? Everything is there. Now, in that reference model or standard model, we use 7 layers, or it is a layered approach. Layered approach means a stack approach. Or so you can say stack model. Stack means some layers are there. Data has to go through all the physical, and when we receive the data on the receiver end or destination, it will go through all the layer or go through all the stack, and we will receive at the application layer. That is the reference model, right? So this is easy. We are using 7 layers here: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link layer, and physical layer. Application layer means your application where you're using, like this browser I'm using, any Skype, let's say, any chatting, WhatsApp, these are the application. So whatever the application exists on this application, right, layer, when we send this data through chat, through this browser, it will go through next layer, right, this presentation and session layer. And between these two layers, the application and presentation, means between the layer, we use some protocols. We use set of protocols we call as an interface protocol. We call as a interface protocols between the layers, right? And similarly between other 65544333221 interface protocols. But let's say on my laptop Skype is there, and on your laptop one more Skype is there, and we are communicating, right? So when the data comes, when we enter through the chat, right, and when you receive from in your chat portion, some rules also applicable at the application layer, right? Similarly, some rules also applicable at your application. So these rules means protocols. Rules means protocols. These protocols we call peer-to-peer protocols, right? I send the data, some rules I applied on the layer. Again, you receive the data, some rule applied. So we call peer-to-peer protocols, right? These called peer-to-peer. So for example, in the application, you send the data, right? You send the data, which some protocols are there, or you send the file, FTP protocols are there. Or from FTP protocol, I'm able to send the file. On your side, Skype is there. I receive the file. On your side, you receive the file. Same FTP protocol is used to download the file, right? To upload the file, to download the file, right? At the same level. Now come to the presentation. I'm just giving the example how this OSI model is working. See the presentation. What presentation? So whatever the file I send, that need to be encrypted or maybe change the format. At my end, I change the file. When you receive that file and when that file reach to that presentation layer, that file will be decrypted. I encrypted the file, you did the file, right? So this called peer-to-peer protocol, right? Come to the session layer. First, to maintain, to establish the connection, we have to maintain the session. We have to first create the session by doing some handshaking, right? By doing handshaking. So here, your authentication, your username or password login will happen at my end. Similarly, username and password login at your end. Then only we can send the file. And come to the transport, What is the meaning of peer-to-peer protocol? It's like whatever I am doing, you have to do the same thing. I am doing encrypting, so you have to do decrypting. If I am doing FTP protocol, if I'm applying at the layer, same FTP protocol, you have to apply to download the file. For sending the file, I am doing the FTP protocol. See, in the transport, similarly, in the transport, what do you have to do in transport? This application actually is running, this application is a process, right? And on that process, some port number is assigned, right? If you run in your CMD netstat -a -d, your processes will come and then your port number will come. That is a software ports. This software ports, not a hardware port. That software port is come. So corresponding to each process, port number is there. That is actually is doing the mapping of application with the network. This will help the mapping of application. Whatever the Skype application I am using, you have to map with the network. How will you have? With the transport layer help, right? So this is the mapping is happening between these two. So whatever the rules here I'm applying for the mapping, same rules I'm applying here for the mapping, right? Same rules I'm applying for the mapping. Now come to the network part. Network is now my laptop is there, Skype is there, some IP addressing I have to assign because one of the network is there. Similarly, in your network, IP addressing is there. So here we have to do logical addressing, right? Or we have to tell what is the destination or what is your route will be. I mean, through which router path you have to go, right? That thing we have to tell at this layer. So this and this next to layer 2 and layer 1 is a hardware part. Layer 2 and layer 1 is a hardware part. What I am saying hardware means this NIC, in a network card is there, network interface card or network interface controller, both same thing. On the network interface card, Wi-Fi tools and everything is there, and you have one port is there, Ethernet port is there, right? Ethernet port is there. So data link layer is actually work on the hardware. So when message come through on this hardware, how that message we transmit through this hardware and link with the cable. This cable is a physical layer. So let's consider network interface card is a data link layer for now, and this cable is a Ethernet layer. So on the network interface card, we have an Ethernet port, right? We have an Ethernet port. This port and we have an Ethernet cable. Some connector is there. We will see later. That is linked with that port. Through that, we've transferred our data. Similarly, through that port, we receive our data. So whatever the protocol on that layer, similarly, on the destination also, same protocol will be there. That is the meaning of reference port. That's how we are doing communication, right? That's how we are doing the communication. And see, one more thing. So one host is there, another host is there, and so network is there. In network, multiple routers are there. So that data has go through the routers and apply some routing algorithm to find out the best path for the next area, for that area. So it again will go to the router, but in that router only 3 layer will be there. There is no need of application presentation session. What I'm saying, see, Skype is like a software on this 3 layer, right? So you don't need Skype software on the router, right? Because data is coming. We have to cache, we need just network interface cards to receive that data, do the IP addressing if required, then forward my packet for another router or directly to destination. That is the meaning, right? So that's why router is only 3 layer. These are the basic thing, but you have to remember how we are doing. So one laptop is there. In that laptop interface, NIC card is there. Application as a software. This application using 3 layers. Application presentation session means my web browser actually doing encrypting or decrypting. My web browser actually maintaining the session, right? Or cookies are there to maintain the session. Now, when come to the transport, this transport will do the mapping of my application with the hardware or with the network, you can say, right? If you go to the network setting, if you go to the network setting, you will see the IPv4 settings, everything, right? If you do command, go run and do the command and run the command netstat -a -d something. So all the application process IDs, it map with the port number. That port number will be assigned on the transport layer, right? Just how actually this OSI model generally works. This is the meaning, right? Guys, any question on this? No, sir. Easy, right? This is actually very important. Maybe the question not come from the ISI, but whatever the question they will give in the computer network, now they give in the scenario, right? They will give in that scenario. This scenario you have to, for understanding the scenario, you need to understand this reference model. That's why this is TCP/IP or this OSI model is very important for understanding the scenario, right? So seems like basic thing. This is the basic thing of computer network. Now we will start from the application layer, then every layer one by one, and see what is happening. See this application layer. Now in the OSI model, this is a layer that is closest to the end user, right? You are the user, or on that Skype or web browser is here. This web browser is a application layer. And whatever the programming of the web browser, session layer or presentation layer also is inbuilt. What I'm saying, whatever the code is required for the presentation or for the session layer, mean for the encrypting or decrypting or for the session management, is already inbuilt, is a part of the browser, or is an inbuilt part of the your Skype or any other application, is an inbuilt part of this. So applications that work at layer 7 are the one that user interact with directly. You know that, but for example, your Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, right? And now see this Google Chrome, let's say, and you have another Google Chrome, other. This is A system, this is a B system. Now you want to send the mail, or send the mail through Google Chrome, you need some protocol. Then only you are able to send the mail. We need SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. We will study this protocol in detail later. But what I am saying, this protocol, some rules I'm applying. These rules are SMTP for sending the mail. Now for receiving the mail, we need to apply some rules. So these rules I'm applying SMTP. These rules. So after that, I'm able to receive, right? So these are the peer-to-peer protocol, right? From A to B, peer-to-peer protocol. So actually we are transferring our data through physical layer only, right? Through cable only or through wireless only. But on that data at application layer, we apply some rule, which rules are SMTP. That rule we apply. Or if you are doing web browsing, right? Let's say www.google.com. For this, we have to apply some rule. What? HTTP rules. These rules will be applied. The client send the request, server receive the request, then server will respond, right? This is called HTTP request. So HTTP is a set of rules we apply. Similarly, for Skype or any web browser, downloading and sending the file FTP, this one is there. If you need any directly connection to remote, right? To remote operating system, if you want to connect, you need the telnet connection, or RDP also is required, remote desktop protocol, right? If RDP you are going a remote desktop protocol. So these are the protocols which we use at the application layer. So it's depend which application we are using. We are using for sending the mail, or we are using for sending the file, or we are using for web browsing, or we are using for remote desktop. So depend upon what application we are using, that number of rules we will apply. That is the meaning. So whatever the rules we are applying on the host A, same rules we have to apply on the host B, because ultimate goal of the computer network is to communicate between two hosts. That is the ultimate basic thing of the computer network, right? Easy. This is the meaning of application layer. Now see presentation layer. In the presentation layer, it's so that application need some format, which for the data should be in proper format. So that data formatting is important, right? Data formatting is important. Or whatever, let's say URL we are sending, or username or password is there, directly we can't set, we have to encrypt, right? So that encryption also, or URL encryption also, so that URL will not be visible during the path. Otherwise, some attacker will come and check out the username, password, or URL, what is URL is coming. So that encryption is required. So this encryption will happen at presentation layer which is inbuilt part of the browser or Skype, right? Which is inbuilt part of the browser, or some data you are sending, compression is required. So also compression will do. Let's say WhatsApp, when you send the photograph, WhatsApp itself do the compression, right? That compression happens at the presentation layer. So this is actually a reference model. Again, I'm saying this is actually a reference model. So what is actually in the layered approach is happening? Okay, in the first layer, I'm sending data, then encryption is happening, session management is happening, then it is linked with the transport layer where that process is linked with the port number. After that, network interface card comes, and on the network interface card here, your frames will be there. Frames will go to the Ethernet cable. How the frames will divide into bits, right? How the frames will divide into the bits. That is like this. So presentation layer also include compression function. Now check session layer. So this session layer is responsible for setting up, maintaining, and clearing connection. So now whatever I am talking to you, session is maintained between you and you, me and you, right? Session is maintained. So first, for maintaining the session, first we need to log in, right? We did the log, right? That is a credential. We log. Now transferring of data is there. A connection is established, right? Now, if you want to cut down the session, we have to log out. This is the one way, or just click close on the browser, then always it will tear down the connection like this. So setting up the session, maintaining the session. Here, whatever I am talking means a data, that data in the bits form you will receive on your host. Then that in the bit form we will receive at the physical layer, then data link layer, then network layer, then transport layer, then session layer. Then this presentation layer will convert in the voice is a data format, right? Data formatting at the presentation layer. So voice is coming on your system due to presentation layer, because the formatting happening only on presentation layer, right? Okay, the transport layer. Now transport layer is, now whatever the message we are sending, in the transportation we do segmentation. Means our message we divide into segments. We divide whole message is there, we divide into segments, depend upon whatever the size we are using, right? So data is breaking into segments to transfer. So message are taken from upper layer and encapsulate into segment for transmission to lower layer. Simple. So similarly, data stream coming from, now this is at the sender part. Now see at the receiver part. Whatever the data we are receiving from the lower layer, we have to de-encapsulate and send to the layer 5. Whatever the segment we are receiving now, we have to merge into as a message and send to the session layer or presentation layer, right? So this whole implementation happen at transport layer. The second one, flow of control. Flow of control means at what speed the host wants the flow from the server. Now the server speed is high or your client speed is low, right? So communication is there. So we have to maintain the flow of the segment also. We can't send segment at more speed, but the server is not able to get up, right? Or maybe the client is not able to receive that much segment. So data will be lost. So we have to maintain the flow of the segment so that every single bit be able to receive, so that data will be correct. That's what I am saying. In the same, sometimes you are saying, sir, voice is breaking, or sometimes message is coming wrong, or some message is skipped. Why it is skipped? Due to not proper network communication. Why? Because the flow is not good. If I will speak very fast, maybe you will not get everything. Maybe you get everything. That's why we have to maintain the flow of data. So there are few techniques to flow of data. This is windowing technique or buffering technique. Windowing technique means some window will be there at my side, some will be there at your side. Through the window only, means in the window some chunk of segments are there. Through the window only we will send the data on the path, and on the window at the receiver side window is there. Through the window only that you will receive the data, and the window size actually dynamically change depend upon which algorithm we are using. Similarly, buffering technique also we use. Buffering techniques are there. Let's say some congestion are there. Wait, keep all the data in the congestion will be open, then you can send. So some bucket, we called bucket techniques also, we called token bucket and one. So these are the buffering technique. We keep in the buffer until unless congestion will be there. If some congestion, let's say data is there, on that point some congestion is there, so it will send, from that point, it will send to the host, say some on the part some congestion is there, please control the flow, So this transport layer at this point, whatever the data is he's sending, it will stop or put all the data in the buffer until unless this congestion will not over. Like some algorithms are there, we will study, or some techniques are there. These are the transport layer. Or third one, error control. Now, what is error control? This is your host A, this is your host B, right? So when you are sending data from here to here, during the path, during the noise, because so many noise, because wireless communication is happening, due to noise, the bit manipulation happen. If that bit manipulate, then data will be corrupted. This data will be corrupted. So to check is data is corrupted or not, or to correct the data, we have to use the error control technique in the transport layer, right? So these three things we have to achieve in transport layer. What first one is your error control, flow control, and segmentation. Now, which protocol we are using at transport? This one at transport layer, TCP and UDP. TCP means transmission control protocol, and UDP is user datagram protocol, right? You know that thing. TCP means this is a connection oriented transport protocol. Means first we need to do handshaking with the host B, from host A to host B, and maintain the session. Then the path, the whole path, what path is resided in the starting is dedicated for the host A to B. Whatever the host A is sending data, whatever the host sending the data on that path, only through that route only we able to receive on B, right? But in the UDP, this is a connectionless transport protocol. Means path is not decided. So in between routers are there, this router will decide where to send, where to not, right? But earlier in the TCP, path is decided, session is maintained. Session is maintained means the path is decided from A to B. Whenever we have to send the data, we have to send through this path only. So connectionless doesn't mean we don't consider this TCP as a LAN, or don't consider this UDP as a wireless. Sometimes students do some silly thing, right? Both means if I am talking to you and through the wireless connection, if path is dedicated to you, this is called TCP protocol. Let's say I am sending, but I don't know the path, the whole path from A to B. I don't know. The in between router is there. He will decide what will be the path, right? He will decide. So that we call user datagram protocol. That is the difference between TCP and UDP. Guys, till now everything is fine. I'm trying to teach this thing in very simple level. Actually what is happening, right? Actually what is happening. So maybe the terminology is very difficult for you, but if you think or visualize, it is very simple. Now this one, let's say this. Now you know the Skype as a one process is mapped with a port number. So these are the processes, right? These are the processes at transport layer, right? Similarly, at host B also, these are the processes at transport layer, right? So these processes, from this process to this process, we call process to process delivery, right? From this process to this process, whenever we send the data, we call process to process delivery. So transport layer, it always end-to-end delivery, or you can say end-to-end. End-to-end means process to process, or you can say process to process delivery, right? But when you think from the NIC part, think from the NIC network part, means a network from the network layer, then it will be host to host delivery. So now host to host delivery means I am not talking about process, I am talking about complete host. So data comes out from that A host, send to the B host, reach to the B host, not process, because on that host multiple processes are there, right? Multiple processes are running. When the data reach to that process, then we say process to process delivery. But when the communication happening between only host to host, my laptop to your laptop, we call host to host delivery, right? That is the meaning of process to process. So this process to process also we call end to end. That is very important term actually. Multiple time they ask this thing. What is the meaning of process to process? Multiple time they ask. You understood? Because the process lie at the transport layer. So they will ask in the matchmaking in the transport layer, in the network layer, in the data link layer. They will say process to process delivery. Then they will say host to host. Then they will say point to point. We will talk about what is the meaning of point to point or hop to hop. Okay, now see. Third one is a network layer. So actually this layer determines how data is sent to the receiving device. So it is responsible for packet forwarding, routing, and addressing. First is the logical addressing. We studied IPv4 is a logical addressing thing, right? IPv4 whole, whatever subnetting and supernetting and normal IP, CIDR. So first one logical address we have to give to the packet, right? Source address, and see whatever the data is there. Corresponding to data, we have to give the our destination address and source address, right? Source means my A host address, destination address is B host address, logical address. So this IPv4 is a logical addressing, right? What is the physical? Physical is a MAC number. MAC addressing is a physical addressing. That will happen at data link layer. And routing, multiple routing algorithm we will, okay, Sai is asking some questions. So routing means multiple routing algorithms are there. We have to apply some routing algorithm and decide the best path. What will be our best path? Okay. Understood. Logical addressing means some network IP I'm assigning to my packet. That's it. Okay, can you explain more? Sai, whatever we studied na IPv4, whole addressing IP is logical addressing, right? So when the message, when you divide your message into multiple segment, and that segment we divide into packets, right? Some packets are there. So to that particular data, we have to assign some address, right? So in the IP header, some header is there. In that header, we have to assign your source IP and destination IP and merge with that packet into that payload. So it become as a one packet with the IP header. So we called assigning the address to the data is called a logical addressing, because network IP we are addressing, right? Now see next part. Now see, here see what I am doing. This is your system A, system D, and some F, right? Here B, C, and E, right? These B, C, E are the intermediate system, means routers. These are the router. On that router machine, only three layers are there: physical, data link, and network layer, right? So when you send the data from A host to D host, we called host to host delivery, means source to destination delivery. Host to host means source to destination. But when the data reach to B point, which is a hop, one hop, this is okay. That system also we can hop. Hop is everything. Every system is a hop, right? So this is called point to point, or you can say hop to hop delivery, right? From this router to this router, hop to hop delivery. From this C router to host, hop to hop delivery, point to point delivery, right? So small delivery, first is a small delivery, then your host to host delivery, which is source to destination. Then we have a process to process delivery, right? So in the network layer, we are caring about source to destination layer. That's it. In the network layer, source to destination. Okay, now see, this is A. Layers are there on the A, and on the F also layers are there. But we are talking about network layer. That's the three layers. So how the data goes? When the data here and reach here, then we call source to destination delivery. Otherwise, this from this point to this point, we call hop to hop, right? Let's talk about next. So layer 2 is about data link layer, which is a hardware layer, your network interface card, your network interface card. So data link layer is concerned with the flowing, packaging data into frame and transmitting this frame into network. What I'm saying, whatever the packet come from the network layer to the data link layer, this packet will be divided into frames with some rules. Data link layer rules are there, right? Some protocols are there. It will apply some rules and divide into the frames. So this frame we have to send through the cable, but at physical layer, some adapter is there, na? Whatever the adapter, that adapter and some connections are there, right? On the adapter that will convert this frame into bits, right? Let's see. And second part is performing error and detection. Now earlier what error control we are doing, right, at transport layer, but that error control happen at end to end means from process to process. But here error control is happening point to point, hop to hop. Means when we send the data from host and reach the data at router, error control implementation will be there, point to point. Then it will forward to next hop, then also error control will be there, right? Then when go to the next host, then also error control will be there. But at the transport layer, from host to host error control. When it reach to the host, then only error control will be there. Error control, some techniques are there. Checksum, CRC, parity, these techniques are there, we have to implement. Second, next point, uniquely find network device within the address, right? Within the address means, see, now network ID you know, but you don't know the physical address. What is the address? So in the data link layer, the network interface card, but we are using, each network interface card has a unique address, which called as a MAC address. Actually, we don't have laptop, don't have MAC address. Network interface card has MAC address, right? If we remove network interface card from the laptop, then this laptop does not have MAC address. MAC address is network interface card. So that interface card is inbuilt in the laptop, right? That's why MAC address is given to the laptop, let's say we say. So MAC address is on the NIC, right? So this NIC is a uniquely throughout the global. Means when one NIC always use unique address, we can't reuse on another NIC or another card. Last point, handling flow control. The same way transport layer segmentation flow control is there now. Here also point to point we are doing flow control. Some techniques are there for flow control. Sliding window techniques are there, go and back, or some protocols are there. We will see in the detail, like go and back ARQ and selective ARQ. Multiple techniques are there. And now these four main tasks of the data link layer. Now the thing is, the data link layer is unique from the other layer in that it has two sublayers. So in that data link layer, we divided into two sublayers. The first one is a media access control, and there is a link LLC, right? Media access control and LLC. Let's see, link logical control something. Okay, first is media access control. So media access control actually handling the addressing part, right? And topology part. What is the addressing part? We have to assign 48-bit address, which is a MAC address, to the NIC, right? To the NIC is there. And the second functioning is logical topology. Logical topology means, see how the network is connected, they are in the bus, like in the ring form, all the hosts are connected, or maybe one bus is there, through the bus only this network is connected, right? Or any other way, right? Any other way. So what network topologies are there? So logical means here, whatever you doing setup at hardware level, at physical level, whatever the setup of the network you are doing, we consider logically at data link layer. But see, at physical level, you have to set up the network, right? This system will be here, my other system will be here. So how the system is connected. So this connection of the different hosts, some design will be there. That design is a topology. So if you see from the data link perspective, data link layer perspective, if you see this topology, that is always logical topology, right? But same topology, if you see at physical layer, that topology we say physical topology, right? So logical from the data link layer perspective, but physical at the physical layer perspective. Now, the next point is method of transmitting on the media. How we have to send the data on the media. Here, that also will be decided by the media access control. See, what I'm saying, multiple devices are there. Let's say one single bus I'm using, single bus data bus path I'm using, and on that single data path, multiple are connected. At the same time, data they are sending on the path. Collision can happen, right? Collision can happen. So let's say you all are multiple devices trying to send data to me at the same time. So maybe during the path that data will be collide, right? This collision is there. So we have to handle that collision. So that's why method of transmitting on the media that will be handled by data link. Okay, next. Guys, Mac is clear, right? Mac is clear. Okay, good. Logical link layer is now said data link layer. You have to do flow control and error control. This flow control, error control is a part of LLC, and your physical address is a part of media access control. Physical address is a part of media access control. So logical is same thing. We divided data link layer in two parts: LLC and MAC, media access control. In the media access control, the physical addressing and how the data will be transferred will be covered. And here, flow control and error control. In the flow control, some techniques are there. Sliding window concept are there. Because earlier also windowing concept, I'm using the transport layer, right? Windowing concept or buffering concept. Here also window concept is there. Depend upon the frame. Here, that windowing concept depend upon the frame, or in the transport layer, that windowing concept on this segment. We will see in detail in the next lectures when we will start transport layer data link layer. Okay, now in this layer, hop to hop delivery. These keywords are very important. Hop to hop. They can ask everything. You should know this thing. What is the meaning of hop to hop? It means point to point. Whenever the next point will come, it will do flow control, error control at this layer, right? Same thing. Now the last layer is physical layer, means the first layer. So at the first layer, how to represent bit on the medium. How to represent medium means your channel, whatever the cable I'm using. So this cable, fiber optic cable, coaxial cable, this everything we will study. But now let's say any channel, any cable is there, how from this cable data will be transferred. That is the meaning of this one. So how to represent, first point is how to represent bit on the medium. So see, at physical layer, whatever data we are communicating, we always do in the binary form, right? You know, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. This 0, 1 means it is an electrical signal. Actually, it is an electrical signal. What is the electrical signal? It is a voltage. It's some voltage. So plus 5 voltage is there. So we called 1. If minus 5 is there, we also called 1. If 0 voltage is there, we called 0. So what is the voltage, right? It is a voltage. So this voltage will tell, the electrical signal will tell 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So this binary form is a data, right? So that data we will receive as the destination, then we will convert through the OSI stack, that layer concept, right? The second is a wiring standard for connector and jet. So different types of wiring are possible. Coaxial wire is possible. Fiber optic is possible. So these are the different standards. We will talk about little bit about this one. Physical topology, same thing, same whatever the logical topology we talk about now. At a physical layer, when we actually do the setup, we call some physical topology. You have a bus topology, you have mesh topology, you have a token ring topology, and many more, right? So at this layer, whatever the setup at physical level we are doing, we call this is a network design. Well, setup of the network, how the network is set up, right? So this topology meaning. And synchronizing bit. Here, synchronizing bit means when at the physical layer you are sending data in bits form 0 1 0 1. So what will be the starting bit? What will be the last bit? That is the synchronization. How the receiver knows this is the last bit of the packet, right? How the senders know this is the last bit of the packet or the start bit of the packet, right? How the synchronization will happen between host A and host B, right? That whole thing is a synchronization bit, right? Now this one is a bandwidth usage. Bandwidth usage, actually there are two types, broadband and baseband. There are two types, broadband and baseband. So broadband and baseband means, broadband here, whatever the broadband you are using at your home, that is a broadband. Here your channel is divided. You are divided into multiple frequency. But I'm saying this is your channel, and some frequency is given to sending the data, some frequency is given for receiving the data, right? Let's say your radio. So it is always divided with different frequency, 1048, 1048, 2.9. That these are the frequency, different frequencies given to the radio, right? Similarly, TV channels are there, right? Channels are there. So every channel have their own frequency, different. So your channel is same, your medium is same, but in that medium frequency is different. In that medium frequency is different, right? Means your data rate speed is different. From that frequency, from that data rate speed, we can judge, okay, if the data frequency is this one, or this is this channel, this is this channel. But in the baseband, signal, there is no such type of frequency. Whatever the bandwidth of the medium, everything we are using. If I want to send the data, the complete medium I can use. There is no frequency. We are not dividing into frequency. The complete medium I can use in the baseband. BASE, baseband. You know this thing, right? Baseband and broadband. Similarly, multiplexing strategy. So in broadband, frequency division multiplexing we are using. Frequency division multiplexing. So what some techniques are there? Some frequency division are there, some time division are there, right? So these 2 or 3 techniques we will study in the physical layer. Guys, you got it? So how we are dividing the frequency, that also is a technique, right? So that technique exists in multiplexing. Okay, bandwidth uses synchronization, physical topology, wiring standard, and how to represent bit on the medium. Guys, say yes or no. Okay, I think till now it's fine. Now the thing is, now this is your 7 layers at the host. Multiple intermediate systems are there. These multiple intermediate systems are there. Now I'm sending data like this. Right? Multiple path possible. That path will be decided at network layer, right? Multiple, but because this path is also there, right? But how we have to choose the path, that depend upon the routing algorithm or which protocol we are using. We are using TCP protocol or UDP protocol. That's question. So now how actually data transfer? See, from the application is going, then it will go above, then it will come back, then it will go above, it will come back, it will go above, it will come back. Then it will like this data is going. Like this data is going. One question in 2013 in GATE 2013, they asked the question from this concept. We'll see. Okay, now your OS model is done. These are the 7 layer, whatever techniques you are there to implementation, we will study in detail each and everything, right? So this OSI model is a reference model. But this TCP IP is a practical model. What I am saying, this is the idle thing, right? This is a idle thing. So this model is a practical, maybe some changes, some protocol changes, something we have to change. But here, from the reference, everything is fixed. If you think from the reference perspective, some rules are there here and there, but this is not practical model. When you converting this reference model into practical model, we have to change some protocol as per our requirement, right? So this is a practical model, right? So this 3 layer actually in the TCP/IP they are considering as a single layer, which called as a application layer, and transport layer is all same. Your network layer they called as an internet layer, and these 2 layer they call as a link interface or network interface, which is NIC. You know NIC practically. This is a NIC, right? We already talked about. So at application layer, data is as it is, message form. In the transport, in the segment form. In the internet layer, you call packet form, and in the link layer, frames or bits. It's the same, frames or bits. First frame, then we divide into bits, right? This is a practical model. Same reference model, but here and there they are as requirement. So if you go to any standard book, any internet, this TCP/IP model is always varies. It's a dynamic. Cisco has their own TCP/IP model, or other has their own TCP/IP. Means not the same. Everything is same. Something is changing. Maybe the internet I am using now, they can use IP layer. Let's say the transport I am using now, they will choose another name, right? So these are the standard things, but you have to visualize what is happening. That is most important. They can change the name, right? Every website, if you go, different name will be there. But if you compare with the OSI, yeah, transport is transport, network is network, and last 2 will be 1, right? So see, this one is this one is a interface protocol, and this is a peer-to-peer. So this TCP/IP this is a up to transport layer. So application is above. Let's say application is above, because this is a process to process, right? Application is above, or you can consider this process is a complete application. Is so in between whatever the rules we are dividing. See, we have to send data to this layer. So some rules is required, right? That is an interface, right? But between these two, it's called a peer-to-peer protocol. Actually, there is no link between these two. Don't confuse. Some student in the last time told us, sir, there is a wiring between network to network. No, there is nothing. There is some rule. Whatever the rules we are applying here, when the data will receive, the same rule will apply here. That's called peer-to-peer protocols, right? Sometimes one student last time, so there is a wire in between these two, right? So this is, don't do silly mistake things. See, first we have to visualize what is actually happening, right? So how the data is coming? Some actual data is there. When it will reach to the transport layer, we add some header. With header what? A port ID, port number, right? Because the application is mapped with the port number, right? See, your application, we have to map that 21 as a header. We have to send with the data, right? How receiver on which port that data should I receive? How you know that you have to download the file or you have to send the file only? So some ports are fixed. That is little part in detail. What is the meaning of fixed and dynamic? And so here we are adding port address. In the network, IP address is there. So here we are adding IP address. So IP header we are adding. In the data link layer, MAC is there. So we are adding MAC address, right? After that, we are sending. So how the data with port number, with IP address, with MAC address, combine, send in the block through the cable. So what is the meaning of addresses? We already talked, right? Addresses, each communication endpoint must have an address, right? So network must be specified. How we specify the network? Through IP. Host must be specified and system, right? The process must be specified, right? So physical layer, no address. Data link layer, you have a MAC. Network layer, you have a IP, right? Logical addressing. And transport layer, you have a port. That thing you have to specify, then only we can communicate. Otherwise, not possible. So what is a protocol? Protocol is a set of rules, right? Some definition, set of rules. So agreed communication convention on okay, there is an agreement between host and destination. This agreement we have to follow, then only communication is possible, right? You know that part. And protocol must be formally defined and unambiguous, right? So interface versus peer protocol, you know, interface between layer to layer, and here peer to peer from host to host, corresponding to each layer. So port, right? See the port here. See now the process in the host a multiple processes are there, right? This process and port is there. This one, let's say, is linked with that port. Similarly, this process port is there. How they are port to port communication. So let's say some data I'm sending and here I'm receiving on port 21. I'm able to download the file. There is a FTP protocol, right? So some remote desktop or remote connection, then telnet will be there, right? Some mail is coming. If you want to receive that port 25, these numbers are fixed: 21 for FTP, 23 for telnet, 25 for SMTP, DNS 53. DNS for domain name system, right? TFTP. Okay, TFTP is more secure. It's like a FTP, but first you have to log in. After login, you can download the file. Otherwise, not possible. But FTP is directly without authentication. You can download the file. We will study each protocol, and this is simple network monitoring protocol. SNMP means simple network monitoring protocol. Actually, so many networks in so many networks, so many routers. In so many routers, we have so many hosts, right? We have to monitor each and everything. To monitor each and everything, there are a set of standard rules. That standard rule defined in the SNMP, monitoring the protocol, different networks. So monitoring the network is a SNMP protocol, right? Okay, guys, this is a link. You can go through the link and read about OSI layer, everything in detail. Whatever I taught is more than enough. You can visualize everything easily. But if you have a time, and better to open this link and read. It will take 1 hour. That's it, to read and everything about layers in detail, right? Guys, okay. I think we'll discuss some questions. Okay. Okay. Yes. Fine. So your OSI and TCP done. So this is gate 23 question. You have 5 minutes. Try. Not 5 minutes. 3 minutes only. Try. Okay. Okay. Try. Answer is given. Fine. But try. Only 1 is fine. Is it 6? Okay. Let's see. Guys, try. Yes. Answer is C. Right. So he asking how many times network layer and data link layer. So here, see, network layer, network layer, network layer, network layer, right? 4 times network layer, but data link layer, how many it go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So at router 2 times in the data link layer, at router 2 times. So this is 2, 2, 1, 1. That's why data link layer 6 times and network layer 4 times. Answer is C. See, this is very easy thing, the basic concept, how the communication happens, right? Now you have to tell. I know, Gayatri, you're so much hurry. You're so much hurry. So many people do like this. That's why I ask. It's a tricky question, not easy. It's a tricky question, right? Don't. Uh, Gayatri A. Guys, tell me, say. It's very easy. 1 marks question. Which of the following transport layer protocol is used to support electronic mail? We will talk in detail. I'm asking. Maybe you know. I know we didn't discuss in detail. So I see. Yeah, because first of all, they are talking about transport layer protocol. So this one is not coming into the picture. And now for SNMP, always it is a connection oriented service. So the connection oriented service is a TCP. That thing in detail we will talk in the application layer protocol time. So this is a TCP. Why I'm asking this question? By looking the electronic mail, now the people put the answer like this, SMTP. But they are asking transport layer protocol. Transport layer protocol are 2 types, right? That's why TCP. Got it? That's why I asked this question. So simple mail transfer protocol for your Google Mail, Gmail, and everything. Mailing. SMTP. Yeah, I told you, simple mail transfer protocol. Simple mail transfer protocol, right? If you want to receive, see, one system is there, here also system, some between mail server is there, right? Between mail server. So from that mail server to this destination, there is some protocol, some rules are there. These rules are simple mail transfer protocol. But from source to mail server, some rules are there, which is called POP3, IMAP, that we will talk about later, right? So these are protocol. Only from this protocol, some rules we have to apply, then only we able to receive the mail. Any questions? I can't be used for sale. It is electronic mail. Oh, okay. See, it is Gmail is electronic mail, yes, but this SMTP used at application layer, brother, right? It is not used as a uh, transport layer, right? This protocol we use at application layer for electronic mail, right? But at transport layer we use TCP. So yes, for electronic mail, this protocol, right? This protocol only we have to do, but at application layer. We discussed now in the application layer so many protocol, FTP, SNMTP, and all these things. See this line. Now see here SMTP, port number 25, right? So this is at application layer, right? Last. Maybe you are not able to solve, it's fine. It's little advanced, but still you know the OSI model now. Please try to solve. Think and apply your common sense. What will be the answer? Try. Okay, fine. Think, fine, fine. Take your time, it's fine. We have enough time. I think this is the last question, then we will go again back to supernetting. That's it. We will discuss, maybe we will brainstorming on supernetting again if I'm missing something. D, let's see, we will see, we will see. Good question. Think clearly. Now, point is, this is your client and this is your server, H is server, and the communication happening between Q and H, HTTP, right? HTTP protocol I'm using. What is the meaning of HTTP? Means web browser communication, right? From web browser communication is going. At session layer, they are using one technique, DES. DES is a encryption or is a shared encryption protocol, right? So whatever the data coming from the application layer, that will be crypted, right? Right, Gayatri. Answer is C. We will see that data will be crypted, right? Encrypted. Now read the URL of the file downloaded by Q. The URL is of the file downloaded by Q. So any attacker is attacking on R2, doing sniffing, right? If it is doing sniffing, okay, we will talk about the sniffing and everything in detail. No need to worry if you don't know, fine. Some attack is doing to looking data, sniffing some looking data. Can he see URL of the file, right? But URL actually we send during application layer. At session layer, we are using DES protocol. So it means whatever the data is coming on application, on session layer, that will be encrypted, right? That data will be encrypted. So the attacker can't see because data in encrypted form. The first is not possible, right? The second, TCP port number of Q and H, right? So this TCP port number means a process port number, whatever the port number mapped with the process. This port number can see that port number is after session layer, session and presentation layer, right? That port number is not encrypted. So whatever the packet is there, with the packet we are sending port number, right? But it is not encrypted. Yeah, that if this is not encrypted, it means the attacker can see my port number. Yes, so I2 is possible. Third, in the next layer, we are adding IP address also. In the next layer, we are adding IP address also, right? Right, guys? So IP address. So that IP address can attacker see at R2. Think. Here is the important point. You have to think. And again, the link layer address of QH at R2, can I see NIC address? Because for R1 NIC different, for R3 NIC is different. If I'm here, maybe I can see the NIC of R1. Maybe I can see the NIC of R3. But the NIC, the MAC address, I can't see link layer address of Q and H. Yes, right, Sanjeev. Link address of only R1 and R3 because that is a link address, right? Only I can see. Otherwise, of Q1 is not directly linked with R2, but our attacker is sniffing at R2. So that's why the link address of Q and H is not visible to attacker, but this two will be visible. So answer is C. That's why I2, why I2? Because port number is not encrypted and IP is also not encrypted, right? But link address is always, link address means whatever the link is there, NICVR, so that link address is visible to neighbor only. So we are sniffing at R2. So R2 is, number of R2 is R1 and R3. That information I have, but not about Q and H. I think Sai, you got it, everything, right? Okay, go back, slide number 7, 8, 9. Okay, so here necessary conditions are there, right? Some 3 necessary conditions are there, then we have to apply. First condition is IP must be in sequence, right? Second condition is network contained in power of 2. But third condition is here, if you want to aggregate the third condition, you have to see whatever the lowest subnet ID, right? That different octet, whatever the different octet from the lowest subnet ID must be 0 or should be 0, right? If it is not 0, then whatever the decimal value of that octet, that must be divisible by number of network in subnet, in supernet. Number of network in supernet. See the example what I'm saying. So in this way you have to see. So see, first rule, in the sequence yes, in the sequence yes, in the sequence yes, in the sequence no, in the sequence yes, right? Second one, power of 2. Is this power of 2? Yes, this is 2, this is 2, this is 3, which is wrong. This will not. And this is already rejected 4. This is 4, right? Now the last option, what octet is different? This one, third octet, right? Third octet, which is 0 and 1. And here also, which octet? Third octet, which is 1 and 2. Here see, what is that third octet here? Oh, sorry, this is rejected, this is rejected. Now list 5, which is second octet, right? Second octet. Now, which is 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now first we have to see the lowest subnet ID. The octet is 0. Yes, this is 0. Done. This is a aggregation is possible. Now this is 1? No. So this 1 is divisible by number of network in supernet. Number of network means 2 networks are there. It's divisible by? No, it's not exactly divisible by. So this is not possible. Now come to this point. Now find out the lowest octet. Okay, this 4 is lowest. Okay, so this is 0. No, the second part is else this 4 is divisible by number of networks in the super network. Yes, 4 by 4, 1, right? So that's why list 1 and list 5 is a supernet possible, supernet aggregation possible. So the first IP is the supernet IP for this list 1 and list 5. That is the rule, right? I have that also in my notebook. Maybe it's my mistake. So this way you have to solve the question. Got it, guys? Everyone say yes or no. Sai, any doubt you can ask me. Just one rule. First check 0. If 0 is not there, then try to divide with number of network in the super network. Okay. Okay, this is done. This is, I think, clear. Okay, guys, I'm done for today. Any doubt you can ask. Otherwise, I will share that PPT on shared folder, right? I will share this one. Sai has doubt. Let's see what doubt. Okay, you don't have. So any question, guys? If you are facing any problem, if you want to discuss in the class from the subnetting and supernetting, we can discuss. And you understood the OSI model, means you get the visualization. I'm trying to give you the visualization. What is the meaning of? I can teach the things, small thing, but actually main thing is to understand the network scenario. You should know, you should visualize the everything, right? You are able to visualize. And Gayatri, Sanjeev, Sai, can you tell me about computer architecture? Computer architecture. What is the plan? How the preparation is going on? We have a time like 5 or 10 minutes. We can discuss. If you are not revising, see, guys, you are capable. I know. Sanjeev, Gayatri, Sai, I know. If you put little effort with consistency, easily crack. So don't lose yourself any answers at some point. That's what I am saying. Every subject is important. Maybe I know computer architecture is a difficult subject, and it's very difficult to get the marks. But if someone is revised very well now, then easily to crack. So I know, oh, that subject is done, but revision is must. Maybe this Sunday you can revise, then next Sunday again you can revise. Just give 1 hour, that's it. Give 1 hour to revision. Practice is going on. Parallelly, practice is going on, I know, but revision is must. Make notes, try to make colorful notes also with multiple pens, right? Try to make colorful notes. Okay, some message came. But in that SuperNet concept, why did not list 3B? In the SuperNet concept, why did not list 3B? Why? Because the IP is not in sequence now. List 3. Let's go again. Question. Let me check. See, number of networks are not power of 2. In the list 3, number of networks are not power of 2. That's why. Got it? Sai. Okay, now subject. I'm trying a couple of problems have difficulty, so kept it toward the no. You don't have a time. Okay, if something new concept is there, then fine, you can keep for the end. If some difficult problem is there, but the same concept you are using, whatever I taught, try to understand the problem. It will, right? If the same concept we are using, then you have to try to understand the problem. Otherwise, we can discuss. Don't leave for end. And what there is no end for the revision. Every 2 weeks you have to revise. So what is the meaning of end? I didn't get. If you're thinking now done, yes, sir, revising and solving assignments and tests and some problem facing issue, but then again revising concept to get solution. Right. You have to revise. There is no end, but sometimes it is totally different. Okay, anytime we can discuss. You just put the question or any topic in the classroom. I will see if something is different. We will discuss. Right? It will take 10 to 15 minutes to discuss. Fine. Don't worry about that thing. The main thing is, don't think this is done. I got it. Now in the end I will revise again. No, this is a very bad way, or you will not chance you easily crack that exam under 100 or 200. To getting 100 and 200, all the concepts should be on your fingertips. To getting the fingertips, now multiple times you have to see. Maybe initially you will struggle, I know, maybe 1 or 2 times, but third time, fourth time, 15 minutes. Every paper is 15 minutes. That's it. Or after a few months, it will be 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Right? So in the end, you don't have a time for the revision. In the end, you should do practice a lot. Give multiple tests, give test series. I will give you one more test series link also to you if someone is done with our test series. Right? So just try to prepare and revise as much as. So don't think about, okay, I will revise in the end. That is a very bad idea actually. Okay, fine, guys. Done. Thank you, guys.